Hey, everybody, and welcome to the Microsoft Minute. My name is Steve Caprio, and I'm joined, as always, by Chuck Salvo. And today we're going to be talking about the 2025 Microsoft Graveyard. Chuck, you and I, for the last couple sessions here, have been talking about what cool new things are going on, things from Ignite, so the different announcements that were made at Ignite and how that impacts people's future states. But as always, Microsoft has things that are deprecated, things that are going away, and sometimes these things are relied on quite heavily and forgotten about because they've just simply always worked inside of the Microsoft tenant or within any of the technologies that you've deployed. We felt like at the beginning of the year here, it'd be good to show everybody a bit of a roadmap of what is planned for deprecation, what is being moved away from on the Microsoft side, what some of those solutions might be that they're replacing it with, and making sure people are aware of that stuff.
Yeah, without a doubt, right? Microsoft is always changing, always evolving, and not everything that they create is a winner, right? Technology changes. So without a doubt, over time, you're going to lose functionality. It's going to be replaced with new functionality that's faster, more secure, the latest and greatest features. But like you say, those dependencies that might be holding up certain parts of your organization, you need to find those out. You need to be aware of what to do with those. So yeah, let's talk about the list, that all the
Yeah.
fun stuff that won't be here next year.
Yeah. So someone put this together for us. I found this, so I won't claim responsibility for this infographic, but I thought it was a good summary and a good timeline. So we'll walk through it and talk down some of these. The Get CS dial plan is really only for like Teams phone users, and there's a simple change to the replacement of that commandlet. It's not a huge one. I think one of the bigger ones on this list is the RBAC application impersonation role in Exchange Online. Most commonly, this is used to impersonate a mailbox to perform some sort of action. So maybe a third-party application impersonates a mailbox to send mail, or it impersonates a mailbox to redirect mail or to drop mail into a mailbox that perhaps is from that third-party application. Getting rid of this is a big one that a lot of people maybe have set up but have not touched in a very long time. The deprecation of this coming up quite soon means that you'll have to transition to app registrations through Entra ID in order to have a similar functionality with the mailbox. This one I felt was particularly a good one to call out. I think it's been on the roadmap for a while, but again, because it's just sitting in the background, usually doing things, it's hard to remember exactly where that is. Keep an eye out for this one coming up in February 25.
Before you
Very,
jump into March,
yeah,
one of the ones that's missing on here is Viva Topics. A great product, a lot of promise. Fortunately, didn't see a lot of implementations, but considering what you're looking at today with AI and knowledge graphs and retrieval augmented generation, it's a shame because it's a solution that would have been a great piece of AI. But from my understanding, the existing AI that they were using to manage it and make it run, just too expensive to run. I don't know if we'll see another version of Viva Topics, but it is definitely end of life. So for those users that have set up those type of solutions, we can definitely help you out with a future plan for that if you've got that in place.
yeah, yeah. And I think, you know, whole products being deprecated are usually, it's not tougher to find. Like, the answer is not tougher to find. It's just that they're not replacing it with another product. They're replacing it with feature sets from other products that make
Yeah.
more sense and have more traction. I think those ones, whenever we see full products going away, usually we know that they haven't forgot about what kind of the promise of that was. They just are figuring that there's better places to put the topics. And so Viva Topics, like you said, is sliding more into what the capabilities are on the AI side. The next big one on here is the classic Teams desktop app, end user facing. So a high touch scenario. If users are self-serving applications, usually from either the Microsoft portal or another location, and they've just always had the classic Teams desktop app, but have not downloaded the new one, this does go end of life and will be fully deprecated on July 1st. Having used the new one now for a while, I think the way that it handles like multi organization stuff for us is great. It's easy. I can kind of do multiple organizations at the same time and switch a lot easier.
Cool.
I think otherwise it's not really that much of a change. I think it's speedier, the new one too. So this one shouldn't be a tough sell. It's just, again, finding who's got it, who's out there with the old one, and who's going to be impacted by this, and having enough prep time here before July 1st to make sure that you don't have users getting locked out of Teams or having to do like an impromptu download all of a sudden of the new Teams desktop app. Legacy MFA and SSPR policy, I think really is another a big one on September 30th. So managing those authentication methods through legacy MFA, so not through conditional access or migrating it to authentication methods policy in Entra is going away. It's probably a set it and forget it thing for some organizations. Others are probably on top of this because they've been using a lot more conditional access and doing registration campaigns through authentication methods in Entra, but nonetheless going away here. Good one to take note of.
Absolutely. Office 2016.
Yep, Office 2016, 2019. Again, like desktop facing users. So if anybody's still on legacy versions of Office, a lot of times this might just be like warehouse PCs for customers that are in manufacturing, things that aren't always getting touched or used all that heavily. You do want to make sure that you understand where in your environment these things are. The send email API in SharePoint, again, like a workflow process that might be out there that people are using, that is going away. So a good one to keep an eye on there as well.
At that point, you should be in Power Automate.
Yeah.
There's no reason for you to be using that API anymore. It's legacy. It's time to get rid of it. It's time to use Power Automate and better solution.
Yeah. The Power Automate's definitely one place that they're pointing people. The other one is on the Graph side. You can do it through Graph with the Send Mail API. But again, a more modern approach from them, getting rid of APIs that are built right into SharePoint and transitioning most everything to the Graph or to your point, like a Power Automate type function that's just going to run and do what you need to from a workflow standpoint. And then Viva Goals.
The goals. Yeah, that's
so I'll say, you were talking about Viva Topics before, but I know you have some feedback on this one.
Yeah, Viva Goals, OKR, right? Objectives and key results. Great solution. The ability to bring all sorts of KPIs from different parts of the organization, but just not a spot that Microsoft is able to excel in. Power BI would be your natural replacement, just identifying different data feeds to create the data for those KPIs. But yeah, definitely Viva Goals is, we'll see you later. This will be the last year of it.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think Office 365 connectors and Teams, maybe it's really more of updating, it's putting URLs and other webhooks into Teams to connect things. So they're getting rid of that. I think it's maybe less used than other features on here that are getting deprecated, but nonetheless a bigger thing. And also you have more time on the Office 365 connectors and Teams. So end of 2025 there, it's the last thing that they're shutting down. They're allowing people all the way to the end of the year to use those things. A lot here. This is a fairly busy schedule for things that are deprecated. You'll see on other years that like the PowerShell commandlets are changing quite frequently, or setting inside the tenant is changing a little bit, but this is a lot of deprecations from a product side and from a security, closing the gaps on some of the security things that they've probably been chasing for a while.
Yeah, I think if you look at those, they're all security is pushing that, the legacy MFA, the basic auth, and even the old versions of Office. The security vulnerabilities in there. So why do you want to keep supporting that?
Yeah. There's a quicker roadmap here, just highlighting some of the I think in their opinion, some of the larger ones in here. So again, classic Teams desktop app, July 1st is one that's going to sneak up on people, I think, too. So that being said, I think, again, we wanted to highlight some of these things. If your organization thinks that you might have some of this or want to review this deprecation list in more depth, feel free to reach out. We're here to help with some of these things in identifying them, but also transitioning you and your organization to the correct next path for some of these. And we'll continue to do sessions like this and maybe send out some reminders on some of these key dates in a blog post or in another short video. But thanks everybody for joining us today. And again, if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out.